Elliot Kohberger and Lucas Freeman were once neighbors in a quiet town until a violent struggle. Inside, 1122 King Road shattered their lives and revealed a dark secret that no one saw coming. What really happened behind those closed doors would expose a deadly conspiracy, a mysterious disappearance, and a chilling battle for justice that shook the entire community to its core. The house at 1122 King Road was the picture of normalcy. Set on a quiet street in the town of Maplewood, its white siding and neat lawn blended seamlessly with the other homes nearby. Neighbors often described it as unremarkable or just another house. It's the kind of place where nothing out of the ordinary ever seemed to happen. For years, Elliot Kohberger had lived there quietly, keeping to himself. He worked from home as a freelance writer and rarely interacted with the community. People knew little about him besides the fact that he was private and seemed to prefer solitude. That's why when the police received a call late one October evening, many were shocked. The call came from a neighbor who reported hearing strange noises coming from the house. It was around 11 p.m., and a flickering light could be seen through the curtains. What unsettled the neighbor more than the noises or the light was that Elliot had not been seen leaving the house for days. Concerned, the neighbor requested a welfare check. When the officers arrived, they found the front door slightly ajar. That small detail sent a chill down their spines. Normally, Elliot was cautious and would never leave the door unlocked, especially at night. As the officers stepped inside, the quiet neighborhood suddenly felt heavy with tension. The interior was chaotic. Furniture was overturned, drawers pulled out and emptied, and broken glass littered the floor. A trail of muddy footprints led from the living room to the back door, which appeared forced open. Police noticed smeared marks on the walls, dark stains that looked like blood, and a single, distinctive footprint pressed in the mud just outside the rear exit. Yet there was no sign of Elliot anywhere in the house. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The officers searched every room, but all they found were clues hinting at a violent struggle. The absence of a body only deepened the mystery and left investigators with more questions than answers. What made the scene at 1122 King Road even more unsettling were the odd details that didn't add up. A kitchen knife was missing from its usual spot, and an expensive camera lay shattered on the floor. Personal items like Elliot's wallet and phone were found abandoned on a table. It suggested that he had no intention of leaving voluntarily. Yet the door being open from the outside and signs of forced entry hinted that someone else might have been involved. As word spread, neighbors shared their own stories of strange happenings in the days leading up to that night. Flickering porch lights, unfamiliar cars parked on the street, and unexplained noises that none dared investigate closely. The Police Chief Marissa Clarke took over the case personally. She described the atmosphere inside the house as eerily silent and heavy with an unspoken fear. The eerie feeling seemed to linger long after the officers left, a shadow cast over the normally peaceful street. For the residents of Maplewood, 1122 King Road was no longer just a house, it became a symbol of something darker lurking beneath the surface of their quiet town. As investigators combed through evidence, the question hanging over everyone's head was clear. What had really happened to Elliot Kohberger? And who was responsible for turning this peaceful home into a scene of terror? The answers, as the police soon discovered, were far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. The investigation into the strange events at 1122 King Road quickly revealed that Elliot Kohberger's life was far more complicated than anyone in Maplewood had imagined. As the police dug deeper, they uncovered a web of secrets hidden beneath the surface of his quiet existence. Police Chief Marissa Clarke shared how the team found encrypted files on Kohberger's laptop, files that required expert skills to unlock. When they finally did, the contents sent shockwaves through the investigation. Inside were detailed notes, coded messages, fragments of information linking Elliot to a mysterious group referred to only as the Network. This group appeared to operate in the shadows, connected to crimes that spanned multiple states and involved influential people. The house itself held more than just physical evidence. It was a maze of hidden compartments and secret spaces. Behind a seemingly normal bookshelf in the living room, police discovered a concealed doorway leading to a small, dimly lit room filled with old newspaper clippings, photos, and handwritten journals. These items all related to unsolved cases, disappearances, robberies, and unexplained deaths, some dating back decades. Among the clippings, there were headlines about corruption and cover-ups involving local officials and business leaders. Kohberger's journal spoke of fear and determination, suggesting he had been trying to expose these dark truths for a long time. The neighborhood began to feel less safe as rumors spread. Neighbors admitted to seeing unfamiliar people around the area, some watching the house from a distance, others lurking late at night. Surveillance footage from nearby security cameras showed shadowy figures who appeared to know the layout of the neighborhood well, moving quietly and avoiding direct contact. These individuals were neither residents nor strangers passing through. Their presence suggested a planned operation. Police theorized that these visitors might have been trying to intimidate or track Kohberger, warning him to stay silent. Investigators also examined Kohberger's phone records and emails, uncovering dozens of cryptic conversations with unknown contacts. Many of the messages were deleted, but fragments hinted at increasing paranoia and threats. Kohberger had written about feeling watched, about strangers knocking on his door when no one else was home, and strange packages left on his doorstep. The tone of his messages shifted over time, from cautious optimism to desperation. It was clear that the pressure had been mounting in the days before he disappeared. One of the most disturbing discoveries was a series of strange symbols painted on the walls inside the house. These symbols were not random graffiti, but appeared to be coded warnings or messages. Police brought in experts to analyze them, who believed the symbols were part of a secret language used by the network to communicate silently. The implication was chilling. Kohberger had been caught in a dangerous game, one that involved much more than he could control. As Police Chief Clarke explained, the more they uncovered, the more they realized the danger wasn't just from a random criminal or an angry neighbor. It was from an organized group that operated with skill and ruthlessness. The peaceful town of Maplewood was hiding something sinister, and Elliot Kohberger had been brave enough to try to expose it. But his disappearance now seemed less like an accident and more like a warning to anyone who dared to uncover the truth. The investigation had moved beyond a missing person case into a dark underworld of secrets, lies, and threats. And the question was no longer just where Kohberger was, but whether he was still alive. Just when the investigation into Elliot Kohberger's disappearance seemed to reach a standstill, an unexpected breakthrough shocked both the police and the community. A man named Freeman, who had long been considered a minor figure in local criminal circles, suddenly became the focus of intense scrutiny. Freeman was known in Maplewood for his volatile behavior and a history marked by petty crimes and suspicion. What made his connection to the case so startling was the discovery that he lived just a few blocks away from 1122 King Road. Quietly blending into the neighborhood despite his checkered past, Freeman's arrest came after police found his fingerprints on several surfaces inside Kohberger's home. Most disturbingly, on the walls where the cryptic symbols had been drawn, this was a vital clue, placing him directly at the scene around the time the violent incident was believed to have taken place. Phone records further linked Freeman to Kohberger through numerous calls in the weeks leading up to the disappearance, suggesting a complex relationship between the two men. But what that relationship actually was remained a mystery, fueling rumors and speculation throughout Maplewood. During the search of Freeman's residence, police uncovered more than just evidence tying him to Kohberger's home. They found a trove of items eerily similar to those at 1122 King Road encrypted journals. Hand-drawn maps marking obscure locations, and photographs showing the two men together in happier, more peaceful times. These images, taken years before the disappearance, painted a different picture of their connection. They weren't just acquaintances. There was history, but its nature was unclear. Were they friends turned enemies? Partners in some dangerous endeavor? Or had Freeman been manipulating Kohberger all along? The investigation into Freeman deepened when detectives uncovered a hidden room in his basement, locked behind a false wall. Inside were documents and files referencing the network, the shadowy organization Kohberger had warned about. This discovery tied Freeman even more closely to the dark secrets that surrounded Kohberger's life. It seemed Freeman wasn't just a random troublemaker, but someone deeply embedded in the dangerous underworld that the police had only begun to understand. Despite mounting evidence, Freeman maintained his innocence, refusing to cooperate or explain his role. His silence frustrated investigators and added to the growing tension in the town. Meanwhile, neighbors grew more fearful as they realized that someone living so close to them was potentially involved in a violent crime and a secret conspiracy. Adding another layer of complexity, Freeman's behavior before the arrest raised suspicion. Surveillance footage caught him frequently visiting the edge of town, meeting unknown individuals in secluded areas. Police believed these meetings might have involved coordinating plans to cover up their activities or threaten witnesses. The mysterious symbols found both at Kohberger's house and Freeman's basement suggested a coded communication system used to evade law enforcement. As Chief Marissa Clarke noted, arresting Freeman was a significant step, but it was far from the end of the investigation. His connections led the police into deeper and darker territory, revealing a network of secrets that stretched beyond the quiet streets of Maplewood. Each new piece of evidence raised more questions about what truly happened inside 1122 King Road and the dangerous forces at play. Freeman's arrest marked a turning point. It showed the investigation was closing in on the truth. Yet the chilling reality was that the crime was more than just a personal vendetta or a simple disappearance. It was part of something bigger, something far more sinister. The case was no longer just about Elliot Kohberger. It had become a battle against a hidden enemy operating in the shadows, and the stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. As the investigation progressed toward the trial, Police Chief Marissa Clarke revealed a stunning discovery that shifted the entire focus of the case. Forensic experts had re-examined the blood evidence found at 1122 King Road using advanced DNA technology. Now what they uncovered was unexpected and chilling. The blood stains that had initially been assumed to belong to Elliot Kohberger were, in fact, from a completely different individual, someone who had never been reported missing. This revelation cast doubt on many of the earlier assumptions and hinted at a deeper and more dangerous story. This unknown person's DNA matched that of a man named Daniel Mercer, a local journalist who had vanished mysteriously several years prior while investigating corruption in the region. Mercer's disappearance had been an unsolved cold case, buried under layers of bureaucracy and forgotten by most. The connection between Mercer's blood at Kohberger's house and the cryptic notes about the network suggested a web of intertwined secrets and silenced voices. It became clear that Kohberger had been far more than a simple freelance writer. He was entangled in exposing a powerful group involved in illegal activities, cover-ups, and intimidation. The police uncovered that Kohberger had been gathering evidence against this shadowy organization for months. His journals revealed the dangerous position he had placed himself in. He had recorded meetings with unknown contacts, documented suspicious activities, and meticulously collected data intended to bring the organization to light. But the threat against him was real and escalating. Someone wanted to stop him, and the mysterious blood at his home was proof that violence had already been part of the story long before his disappearance. As more evidence surfaced, investigators broadened their search beyond Maplewood. They found connections to similar cold cases and disappearances linked to the network across state lines. The organization appeared to be a vast criminal enterprise, with members infiltrating political offices, law enforcement, and influential business circles. Their goals seemed clear: protect their secrets at any cost. The quiet town of Maplewood was just one small part of a much larger, more dangerous puzzle. The complexity of the case intensified as authorities discovered that Kohberger had been secretly working with an informant inside the organization. This contact had been feeding him crucial information, helping him piece together the network's operations. However, the informant's identity remained unknown, and their sudden silence after Kohberger's disappearance suggested that the threat was now extending to anyone involved. The police feared the informant might be in grave danger, or worse. Chief Clarke described how the atmosphere around the case became increasingly tense and uncertain. The peaceful town that once prided itself on safety was now overshadowed by fear and suspicion. People wondered who among them could be connected to the organization or protecting its secrets. Every lead seemed to open new questions, and the investigation demanded relentless determination. Despite the danger, Kohberger's work and courage became a beacon for justice. His sacrifices highlighted the importance of exposing corruption and standing up against hidden evils. The revelation about the unknown blood and the vast network of crimes transformed the case from a local missing person mystery into a high-stakes battle against a powerful enemy. For the police, and the community, the fight to uncover the truth was far from over. But now, they had a clearer direction and a renewed sense of purpose. The trial that followed was one of the most intense and closely watched in Maplewood's history. As evidence was presented, the complex web surrounding Elliot Kohberger, Lucas Freeman, and the shadowy organization known as the Network slowly unraveled in the courtroom. Prosecutors painted a picture of a man who had courageously attempted to expose deep-rooted corruption, but was silenced by those desperate to protect their secrets. Defense attorneys argued that Kohberger had staged his disappearance to escape the dangers he faced, casting doubt on the accusations against Freeman and others. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, and the community awaited the verdict with bated breath. Just days before the trial's conclusion, an unexpected turn of events shocked everyone. Elliot Kohberger was found alive. Weak and visibly changed, he emerged from hiding in a remote cabin far from Maplewood. His appearance was gaunt, and he showed signs of having endured months of hardship. Instead of speaking, he communicated through written statements, explaining that he had been forced underground after uncovering the dangerous truths about the network. His disappearance had been part of an elaborate plan to gather enough evidence without endangering those close to him. Kohberger revealed that the organization had been watching him closely and had attempted to intimidate him multiple times. Threats, break-ins, and even attempts on his life had pushed him to fake his disappearance. Going into hiding to continue his investigation in secret, he had worked tirelessly to collect information and contact trusted allies who could help bring the criminals to justice. His brave decision to remain silent until the trial was ready to resume added a powerful new chapter to the case. The revelation sent shockwaves through Maplewood. People who had feared the worst now saw Kohberger as a symbol of resilience and hope. His testimony, though given under guarded circumstances, exposed key members of the organization and detailed their crimes. His written accounts provided the missing links investigators needed to strengthen their case against Freeman and others implicated in the conspiracy. With Kohberger's evidence, several high-profile arrests followed, including individuals in political and business positions previously thought untouchable. The network's grip on the region began to crumble. The court's verdict convicted Freeman and his associates on multiple charges, ranging from conspiracy and intimidation to assault and obstruction of justice. The community finally felt a sense of relief, knowing justice was being served after years of fear and secrecy. But even as the case closed, 1122 King Road remained a haunting reminder of the darkness that had hidden beneath the calm neighborhood. The house was cleared, but its walls still held the memory of the struggle for truth and justice. Police Chief Marissa Clarke reflected on how ordinary places could hide extraordinary secrets, and how courage and persistence could shine light into the darkest corners. For Maplewood, the Kohberger case became a lasting lesson about vigilance and the cost of speaking out against powerful enemies. While the battle was won, the scars remained, reminding everyone that evil often hides behind familiar faces and peaceful streets. Elliot Kohberger's story was far from ordinary, and his fight inspired many to believe that even in the face of overwhelming danger, truth could prevail.